welcome to WatchMojo UK, and today we're looking at Top of the Pops moments that embarrassed either the artists, the BBC, or both. Number 10, Blue Monday, New Order. As we'll see more than once, synth-heavy electronic music can be a difficult one for Top of the Pops, especially if, like New Order, you insist on playing live. If the band looked unanimated on stage, it's because they were all focusing so much on getting these synths to work properly and come in when they were supposed to, which they weren't. The timings were off, and Sumner's vocal performance, while hardly the centerpiece of Blue Monday, left much to be desired.
How does it feel when you treat me like you do?
Drummer Stephen Morris later described the performance as, quote, awful. The band hadn't practiced the complicated song enough before insisting on playing live, which just goes to show that sometimes miming is the right decision.
Those who came before me lived through their vocations.
Number 9, Novocaine for the Soul, Eels.
Life is hard, and so am I.
Like many bands, Eels were furious to be told they had to mime during their Top of the Pops appearance. They protested in their own unique way by using cheap toy instruments and bringing them up on stage instead, including tiny little guitars and a children's drum set. This isn't embarrassing for Eels, though they do look rather silly up there, but more for the BBC, which again had egg on its face over the absurdity of the Top of the Pops miming mandate. But given what happened to New Order, perhaps it's better to mime and have the single you're flogging actually sound good, rather than play it in the awful Top of the Pops studio and mess up. Number 8, Pop Music, M.
Radio video, movie with a suitcase, you're living in a disco, forget about the rat race.
Robin Scott had other, more energetic performances of 70s classic pop music on Top of the Pops, but this wasn't one of them. He looks utterly bored to death, miming out of time with the backing track. To be fair, pop music itself is meant to lampoon the music industry and the way people talked about it. So maybe his unenthused attitude is part of the experimental nature of M.
Talk about pop music, talk about pop music, pop music.
His backing band looked just as bored, but Scott ends up leaning on the set and then discarding the microphone entirely to sing into a walkie-talkie.
Pop music, pop music, all around the world, pop music, wherever you are.
But he did have a habit of breaking out the walkie-talkie while on Top of the Pops, so viewers may have been expecting it. Number 7, Martha's Harbour, All About Eve.
I sit by the harbor.
Oh dear. We just talked about how sometimes miming can make a performance more like the recording, but what about when it goes horribly wrong? Due to no fault of the band, this is what happened to All About Eve when they turned up to promote Martha's Harbour, which made them look silly despite doing nothing wrong.
You are an ocean wave, my love, crashing at the bow.
It made the BBC look pretty ridiculous too though, since it was the corporation's mistake that left all of us watching Julianne Reagan sit there without realizing she was meant to be pretending to sing. Then again, Tim's guitar miming wasn't great either.
I've been running round.
The week after they were allowed to perform live, so it didn't happen again. Number 6, Jackie Wilson said, Dexy's Midnight Runners. While Kevin Rowland mandating that everybody needed to dress like a farmer for the music video and performance of Come On Eileen was odd, it wasn't their only bizarre Top of the Pops appearance.
I'm
While promoting the successful cover of Van Morrison's Jackie Wilson said, in reference to the iconic soul singer, Dexys turned up on the show and infamously played in front of a picture of Jockey Wilson, the darts player. We wonder if Jockey Wilson did ever tell anyone that he was in heaven when they smiled.
When you smile, and when you walk across that street.
Today, Kevin Rowland claims that he asked for the picture of Jockey for a joke, but lying to fend off embarrassment over a gaffe is just the kind of thing we'd expect from him. Number 5. Take a look around. Limp Bizkit. Once upon a time, Limp Bizkit was so wildly popular that Mayhem took over the Top of the Pops studio. This was in 2000, the height of their popularity, and as soon as the guitars began to pick up, so too did the audience, invading the stage, which was perhaps lower and nearer to the crowd than it should have been.
I know why you wanna hate me. I know why you wanna hate me. Now I know why you wanna hate me.
This was all the more baffling because it clearly wasn't being encouraged by the band, with security having to walk on stage and boot the punters off. They surrounded Durst, who had to interrupt the song.
Get off the stage.
Props to Durst, they did mostly listen to him, but this blunder made the BBC look bad because it wasn't able to keep control. Number 4. Blue Room, The Orb. If you thought Blue Monday having to be cut down was bad, wait until you hear about the original 39-minute length of Blue Room by The Orb. Unlike New Order though, The Orb didn't even attempt to actually play it, nor did they want to look like they were playing anything, other than an extremely surreal chess match.
The music was fantastic.
This was one of the issues Top of the Pops faced when trying to bring electronic music to TV screens. Often it was impossible to even pretend to recreate it on the show. They probably never thought they'd have to think about stuff like this when the show began in the 60s. Number 3. The Wicker Man, Iron Maiden. In 1980, Iron Maiden became yet another group who refused to compromise their artistry for the needs of the BBC's poorly equipped studio. They insisted on playing Running Free live. Though this went smoothly by BBC standards, they apparently changed their philosophy at some point. 2 decades on, and they returned to Top of the Pops to play The Wicker Man, only this time they bought into the BBC's miming agenda. How embarrassing for them that they didn't stick to their guns and refused to mime during every appearance. Bizarrely, this was also during the slow demise of the program, when producers didn't care if they mimed or played live. Number 2. Bankrobber, The Clash. On and off during its lifespan, Top of the Pops had an in-house dance group there to make the performances more visually interesting, or sometimes to replace them entirely. The Clash refused to appear on Top of the Pops to promote Bankrobber, so performing the song was left to the resident dancers, Legs and Company. It wasn't the girls' fault that nobody wanted to see them perform a dance routine to a Clash song, but that doesn't make this any less weird. Again, we see the massive inconsistencies in when the BBC let them play live and when they didn't, and you have to wonder why this was preferable to just playing a music video. Bankrobber did have one after all.
What do you think they wanna say to us while we were here, Trevor?
Number 1. Doctor and the TARDIS, The Time Lords. These days, you'll get arrested and thrown into jail just for rocking up on Top of the Pops dressed like a Klansman with Gary Glitter waiting in the wings. The 80s were truly a different time, with this novelty Doctor Who band, the Time Lords, getting a hit single. The absurd novelty song climbed all the way to number 1 in the charts, so the Time Lords were brought onto the beat to show off. But then the song reverted back to rock and roll, the Gary Glitter original, and Glitter himself appeared. Strangest of all was the revelation that the people under those black cloaks were electronic duo the KLF in disguise, although it was before they changed their name. Let us know in the comments which embarrassing Top of the Pops moments you want us to put in the top 20 version.